freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for this week's 3M Open. And joining me to break it all down, it's Kyle Porter, KP. What's up?
Well, I hope my wife is not listening because I am supposed to be watching my kids right now. I don't know where they're at. I don't know what they're. Also, my wife's not listening to our round one recap of the 3M Open. So
how old's the oldest?
8.
Oh, we got to get you out of here. You're in so much trouble.
There's
doing anything right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We don't have a swimming pool, so we're good there. But yeah, anything could be going on. It's a true who can say situation.
Well, who can say who's at the top of the leaderboard? And I know exactly who's at the top of the leaderboard, producer Jacob, because his name is Rickie Fowler.
Rickie Fowler.
Yes, wear it out. Rickie Fowler goes out bogey-free 64, in which he gained 4 strokes putting KP, which is kind of like, I mean, that's his weapon. That's what he does. It frees up the rest of the game. But we're starting to see Rickie play a little bit better, maybe turning back form a little bit.
Yeah, I think normally you and I with a putting round like this would be like, wait a second here. What's going on? But I actually think with Fowler that it's an encouragement.
Correct.
Right? Now, are you gonna gain 4 strokes around with a putter? No, you're not. Nobody's going to. But for him, that was such a weak spot. Really, I was looking back through his tournaments. It was kind of the end of 2020 and into the spring of 2021. It was just bad. And it's gotten better recently. So he's going to, if he wins this tournament or if he contends in this tournament, he's going to have to do it a little bit differently than he did on Thursday. But I just think confidence wise, it's got to be great for him because he's not, I mean, he only has 1 top 10, Rick, since the 2020 Farmers, that's astounding. I mean, that's just, I know he's, kind of been not that great, but 1 top 10 in basically 18 months is just, that's not where he should be living.
It's not even the fact that it was his weak spot. It's that he was good. That was his weapon. That was the best part of his game. Then he lost it, which puts so much stress on everything else that you're trying to accomplish. So yes, I am encouraged. It's going to end up being the second best putting round for him since the start of 2015. So it's not going to happen again, but it is encouraging because he's starting to get back on that right track, and he can let the rest of his game, or he doesn't have to be so perfect everywhere else.
Do you see any Jason Day in there? I know we've talked about Day before, where it's best putter in the world, and then it drops off a little bit. And, I think Rickie's a better iron player than Jason Day, just broadly over the course of his career. But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of that in there of once you lose your confidence a little bit, the strokes gain is just, it doesn't look good over a couple of years. And then all of a sudden you're not really contending in any events.
Yeah, Jason Day told us that, right? And it's basically like, okay, well, now I know I'm struggling with the flat stick. I better hit this one close, or I better hit it on the right side. And when you start thinking, oh boy, I better do this, or I better not miss here, you're cooked. You got no chance out there. Golf is more mental than it is physical.
Well, and I think that's a really great point because when you have confidence with the putter, even if it almost doesn't matter what your numbers say, as long as you have confidence.
Right. Doesn't matter if you're actually good or not.
Yeah. But then it's a self-fulfilling deal, right? And it just frees you up to just pound greens. You don't, to your point, you don't have to go at these flat. You don't have to you don't have to get short-sighted because you're trying to hit it to 10 feet every time. And once you start doing that and you get short-sighted, that's when you bring it's just so hard to win tournaments like that unless you're, Colin Morikawa and you hit every flag stick that you look at.
Yes, that is not the usual blueprint for PGA Tour victories. Also with an opening round 64, Troy Merritt, which featured a 30. That's 6 under par on his back 9, which was the back 9. And after 2 missed cuts for Merritt, he is popping up again. We just saw him finish runner-up at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, now popping up here potentially at the 3M. This is like Troy Merritt's season, right? Like late summer, couple of these events where the stars are taking off. Rack up your points, rack up your cash, see what you can do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Troy Merritts out there, right? It's Cameron Tringali who's on this board. It's Adam Shank who's on this board. It's Scott Stallings who's on this board. You kind of put all those guys in the same type of bucket, which is don't really win, but they're in the top 125 every year, and so yeah, for them it's about like, man, can I go win a tournament? Right. Because I don't know where all those guys are at in the FedEx Cup, but that's kind of a theme on the top of this board is like there's just not, other than Rickie, there's not a lot of guys that have won very much over the course of their career, and that's probably kind of to be expected at the 3M in a little bit weaker field. But it's such an opportunity for, like we saw last year with Michael Thompson, to kind of change the trajectory of your, maybe not what people think about you, but at least your career a little bit.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that friend of the pod, Scott Stallings, was scorching hot, which, by the way, he's never actually been on the pod, but
yeah, he's
honorary.
He's my go-to for the average PGA Tour player.
Well, if he wins, maybe he can get off from being the average PGA Tour player. Was scorching hot, and then he got the weather delay. There was a 2 hour and 21-minute weather delay on Thursday, and he ends up making an ugly double on 18, which is so strange because it's one of the easiest holes on the golf course, and guys still find a way to dunk one or two in the water there.
Yeah, he finished 4.3527, which is not your water. I mean, the back nine is a circus. 3.342 4.3527. It looks like the passcode to your iPhone or something. It's not a great fit. Hey, I was thinking about this. Who you did this? I think it was earlier this year. You looked up who was like the most average PGA Tour player. Didn't you do that?
I did. Yeah. Who was it? It was, it was somebody was within like a tenth of a stroke of zero in all four major categories and was like a 0 strokes game player. And I cannot remember who it was.
But it wasn't Stallings, right?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. I was thinking for a second, it was him, which would be hilarious because he's always my like go-to guy.
Yeah. He was basically, I think when he became your go-to guy, he was like the random 100th ranked player in the world type deal. It might have been...
That basically describes this leaderboard, by the way.
God, I don't know who it is.
The random 100th ranked player in the world.
I'll figure it out. I don't know.
Did you see my boy Ches is 4 under through 11?
Yeah, so he might spoil this whole leaderboard and this whole fact that we're going live before this round is actually open because he chipped in, I believe, for Eagle on 18, or did he roll it in? Oh no, he chipped in, or was on the fringe, and he made bogey on number 1 as he made the turn. So we might be safe on him ending up being the leader here. But Reevy was he on your betting card?
Yeah, he was. I had him and Tringali to top 20, and then Sergio to top 10. So I feel decent after round 1.
Yeah, Tringali 4 under 67. Sergio T57 1 under par, has a little bit of work to do. Plenty of rounds to go. I was very impressed with Louis Oosthuizen on Thursday.
Yeah,
3 under 68, which if he would have came out, shot 2 over today, and shot like 1 under on Friday and missed the cut, I would have been like, yep. That's exactly like no problem whatsoever. Wouldn't have knocked him for it. Wouldn't have done anything. There is an argument. Okay. Is Louis like the 4th best player on tour this season or 3rd?
Hold on. I'm looking for, where's our boy Norman Chong? Oh, he shot even par.
He was even when I saw it. Yeah.
It's not great. It's not terrible.
Is
Louis the 4th best player on tour?
Where does he rank? Like
this is such a philosophical question about how do you define best, right? Because I had so many people. I tweeted this out on Wednesday. I said Louis Oosthuizen lost to 4 guys over the last 3 majors, and Phil lost to 212, and one of them won a trophy, and the other guy didn't. And people are like, well, yeah, that's how golf works. And it's like, well, yeah, man, I get that it's how trophy presentations work. But is anybody that rationally follows this stuff, does anybody think that Phil is better at golf than Louis? And so that's a little bit of the question of, you could probably make an argument that Louis had a better statistical year than a Colin Morikawa, but it's hard to say that he's better, So I think it just, and this is why golf is so fun to argue about, because in sports in general, but especially golf, because wins are so weirdly rated by people.
Right.
Like they're kind of overrated, but then they're kind of underrated a little bit. Like we don't know what to do with the wins, I think, a lot of the time. Again, if you're like rational about it. And so Louis hasn't won, but he's been just like just automatic, especially for the last 3 or 4 months. So I think you're right. I think he's like a top 5 player in the world right now, but he also hasn't won. So I'm not sure how to kind of reconcile those two things.
If you just go by pure strokes gained total this season, Jon Rahm is number 1, Xander Schauffele is number 2, Patrick Cantlay is number 3, Brooks is 4, Louis is 5, and then it's Morikawa and DeChambeau.
Where's is Spieth? Oh, is that going back to the start of?
Yeah. So if you go to the start, if you go to that's the start of the season. If you go to the start of 2021, it is actually Spieth number 1, Rahm number 2, Morikawa, Cantlay, Koepka, Louis. What's that? 7.
Okay. So yeah, and I mean, I think your argument would be against Louis would be like if he does. And he kind of does do this, but like I was going to say the Paul Casey thing where he doesn't really do it. Well, Paul Casey is a bad example. Louis is not doing the lion's share of his strokes gained work in non-majors, right? He's doing it at the best events.
That's true.
And I think that works in his favor. But again, like it's a little bit of the Koepka thing of like he also doesn't win regular PGA Tour event. I guess Koepka is probably the better comp there of contends at majors but doesn't really win regular PGA Tour events that you would think that he would have a really good chance to win.
I love golf. Golf is weird. Okay, here's what we're going to do. William Hill has updated the odds to win the 3M Open. We're going to look at those, and we are going to wildly speculate about how this is going to finish. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Rickie Fowler.
Rickie Fowler
is the favorite to win the 3M Open. He is 7-1 over at William Hill. Troy Merritt is 12-1. Ches Reavie 16-1 along with Louis Oosthuizen. Pretty good number on Cam Tringale 18-1. And then Dustin Johnson, who shot a 1 under par, so he's going to be 6 shots off the lead, is still 20-1. We might be going too far on DJ.
Did you see DJ's quote?
What was it? I cannot wait to hear a DJ quote.
So I didn't tweet this out. So his brother Austin is not caddying for him this week because he got COVID and had to go home. So he's got the TaylorMade, I want to get this right, VP of Tour Operations. Can't remember his name, but that's who's caddying for him. And apparently he's caddied for him before. And he said, somebody asked him, how did it work out? And he said, well, we did pretty well. I mean, I hit the wrong club on a bunch of holes, but that was probably my fault. And I was like, wait a second. One, like, you're the number 2 player in the world. 2, do you hit the wrong club with Austin?
Right.
How often does that happen? And 3, you gained like 2.5 strokes on approach shots.
Yeah, he was great.
So I mean, it's a very, that whole situation is very DJ. But I do think, the reason he's 20-1 is because his name is Dustin Johnson. But the reason I don't think it's a terrible play is because the thing that he's been doing poorly is his iron play hasn't been very good in 2021. And that's what he actually did well on Thursday. He just didn't make any putts. The driving wasn't kind of up to DJ standards. So I think there could be a number in there for him on Friday.
Doesn't Austin help him read putts?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing on the greens. I never know.
There's a great I think it's Alan Shipnuck where I think it was a Horschel. He got Horschel on Austin and DJ, and Horschel said he was like playing with them, and Austin was trying to get a number, and DJ was like he can't add, and then he just hit anyway. Like this whole, I'll tweet it out because it's an incredible story. If it was anybody other than DJ, you wouldn't believe it. And with DJ, you're like, that sounds about right.
Last thing, Rickie Fowler 7-1. Can you bet that? Would you bet that? Is he going to win this golf tournament?
No, I wouldn't bet it because of the way he put his round together. You can't bet a guy that has won top 10 in the last 18 months and just was automatic with his putter on Thursday. I think that should be more like 12-1, 10-1, something like that. I think Oosthuizen's interesting.
So do I.
At 16.
Really, I'm really impressed with Lloyd. I cannot wait to see what he does on Friday. I hope he just does shoots another 60.
He said on Wednesday that he's like, I didn't want to take the week off and just think about the Open. I kind of just wanted to get back out there. So I thought that was an encouraging quote.
I love it. That'll do it. Round 1 recap in the books. Round 2 coming up Friday evening, and after each subsequent round. KP, that's Kyle Porter. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. Go find your children. Producer Jacob does all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you very much. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. Catch you next time.